terms of east to west, and that even with a single trench SAS system, it only allows 53 feet to the wetlands from the SAS. The design is for a 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank without an outlet filter. It's got a single 24 infiltrator chamber trench. It's 96 feet long with an 8-inch effective wall. It's vented. It turns out because there's a minimum square footage size in the code, you end up with and it's a 2-bedroom house, you end up with 494 gallons per day capacity versus 330 gallons that we require. It doesn't need any ballast. He's going to remove the existing septic tank and compact the soil in the existing septic tank excavation because his building sewer goes through that. It requires fill. He's requested 5-foot to 4-foot reduction in water table separation with Neil Jackson as the board rep. Wetlands have been delineated. In the septic tank separation to the wells is greater than 100 feet, but the SAS and tank separation to the wetland is greater than 50. So our 50 foot, we should be discussing the 5-foot water, the 100-foot to 50-foot Granby wetlands separation reduction variance, fill regulations, requirement that Conservation Commission review this design, and a trench permit. So your thoughts, guys?
From what I could see, Dick, this is all he could do on that property. It's a funny shaped lot. He's as far as he can get away from the wetland, and that's the best you can do. There's nothing else you can do. You're boxed out by wells and property lines. Only thing that I noted, I think they've got 6-foot separation from the edge of the fill to the property line, Dick. I hope a land surveyor locates this, because you don't want this going on someone else's property.
Yeah, I think the code tells you that
it says if
code says that it's the trench. That although it's got called, Bill, I think there are pins on this property.
okay, but the point is, line, it's got to be field located by a land surveyor. But again, how do you know whether you're 6 feet, 5 feet, or 4 feet? Like you say, if the pins are good pins, that's one thing. But again, I've known instances where there's false pins, and you got to be careful. But again, I just hope it goes on his property. Is this a Bobby's job, right?
Yeah.
Well, his partner there, LeMaite's an RLS, so maybe he can shoot the line or something for him. That would be smart.
Does code actually require now this isn't the fill isn't the thing that puts you in the distance, right? It's a trench, right?
It says it's a component. That's the way it's worded, a component.
And so the question is the fill a component? And I'm not sure.
Maybe not. But again, just as long as we're not infringing on the neighbor, that's all I'm concerned about.
So maybe what we ought to do is, as a condition, put that the property line be verified.
That's all. That's what I think. That makes sense.
Actually, he can probably get out there. I don't even know if Bobby shoots it, but if he's got a front pin besides that, all he's got to do is swing it.
Right. Yeah. But that's the only concern I have about the project. Again, they'll be coming to the commission, and the commission will decide whether they have to file for a permit or not. But I'm going to argue to our commission that we're doing the best we can on this, and they are.
Lee, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with Bill's comment and your comment about the return to grade on the property. That would be probably the extra few minutes to shoot that line to be sure where we are in that back corner. And then as far as the design and sizing goes, it's all good. But just that setback off the property is the only concern.
Yeah, so Colleen, what we're adding to this is that the eastern property line be verified.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So Bill and Lee, so what we're saying is we're approving the 5 to 4 foot water separation reduction, the 100 foot to 53 foot Granby wetland separation reduction. And then we're putting a requirement for our fill regulations, a Conservation Commission review, a trench permit, and verification of the location of the eastern property line. Is that, Bill and Lee, is that what we're saying?
Yes, good with me, Dick. Thank you.
Yes.
And me too, Colleen, so that's approved.
All right.
We've got, I guess we can start going through the rest of the things. I've got the, which I don't see is your timesheet, Colleen. It's standard 70 hours for 2 weeks. Are we all, Lee and Bill, are we okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm good, Dick. I'm good.
Okay, I
Very
am
good.
too, Colleen, so that's approved. Next one
Okay.
is the money transfer to the treasurer. It totals $1,230. That comes from $980 from Board of Health permits. And it looks like $250 from Board of Health fees. Are we okay with that, Bill and Lee?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am too, Colleen.
Okay.
The next one is temporary food permit for Granby firefighters cookout at Dufresne's, and it is on the 16th of August. Are we okay with that one?
I am, yes.
Bill? Have we lost you, Bill?
Looks like he's frozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
So are you okay with the Granby Firefighters Association, Bill?
Yes, yes.
I am too, Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
Next one is the Immaculate Heart of Mary. License for a 1-day temporary food permit, the Summer Fest on August 28th. It's at the church's pavilion. Are we okay with that one?
I'm good.
Lee?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Colleen, I am too, so that's approved.
Okay.
Next one is a temporary food license for the Church of Christ for the Dino Fest food booth on the Common on September 10th. Are we set with that? Are we okay with that?
That's good.
Sure.
Me too, Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is another temporary food license. This is for the First Presbyterian Church, and it's a drive-up pork tenderloin drive-up dinner on September 17th. Are we good with that one?
Yes, I am. Good, thank you.
Yes.
And I am too, Colleen. So that's approved. I do have, here's the next one is a well permit for Maximilian Lot 1H. It's Katawitz Custom Builders, Maximilian Drive. We've got a drawing. I've got a concern in that we're asking for a well permit without a septic system location. And in fact, it doesn't show anybody else's septic systems either. And my suggestion is we don't act on that until the septic system is approved. But
It turns out, Dick, that those two lots are at the end of the cul-de-sac. Alan's carved out two estate lots at the end of the cul-de-sac. One is 1H. I don't know what the nomenclature and the other is, but they just went through conservation. Again, I wasn't aware of any septic design. I think they obviously have good perks out there, but I agree. Why don't we wait until they submit a septic design?
what do you think, Lee?
I believe historically that's been the pattern. Septic has got to be written up, sketched out, approved. Well comes second. I think it's always been that way.
It has actually. So, okay, Colleen, we all agreed that we are not going to act on that pending the approval of the septic system design for this lot.
Okay,
Next one. For Thomas Pisano. And that one looks like a new well. And we've got a sketch. It's also from Connecticut Valley. Now, the question that I have is it's far enough, the well is far enough from the SAS. It's further than 50 feet from the septic tank. The only question that I had is it looks like by moving the well the way they did, they're actually moving it closer to the septic tank.
I'm curious, what was the matter of the old well? Why is the well being decommissioned?
And actually, we need Bill, you just brought up two interesting points. One is, why are we abandoning this well? And two, where is the well abandonment document that goes with this?
That's right. That's right. DEP has this protocol for well abandonment, and you're absolutely right.
Lee, do you know anything about this?
This is news. I mean, since I got the packet from Colleen, I saw it last night. I've gotten no phone calls about this. I share your concerns about the decommissioning, but also the new well is pushing it towards the septic tank. And we don't have any idea what condition that tank is in.
The other thing, I'm
no
just
idea.
looking at it, we don't have any idea if there's any septic tanks or SASs anywhere near this.
That's right. Now, where is 8
On the
Carver?
Yeah.
Is it right on the corner of, is 8 Carver next to Miriam Coutois' house?
I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't even know where 8 Carver is. We'd have to look that up. You're right,
So-
Dick. Insufficient information from what I can see.
So Colleen, what we're saying is we're not going to approve this. And it's based on, first, we have no record. They're not showing any record of septic systems around this well. 2, it appears that they're moving the well closer to the septic tank than the original well. 3 is we would like to understand why we need a new well. And 4, if a new well is in fact going in, there has to be a permit and a requirement that the old well be abandoned legally.
Okay,
Is that what we're saying, Lee and Bill?
Yes, perfect, Dick. Well said.
Yes.
Okay, that's
And
what
then
we all,
we may have some concerns over, well, after they figure this out, we need to figure out rough estimate of the age of the system maybe and whether or not that tank is structurally sound. If we're going in the direction we're going in now, we could be asking for trouble down the road quickly.
no, you're right, Lee. Someone could, as part of this program, why wouldn't we at least think about moving that tank, especially if it's an old tank? Why wouldn't we think about moving that tank away from the house and towards the SAS?
Right,
Yeah.
right now, I'm on Mass Mapper, Dick. I'm gonna see if I can actually locate this property on Mass Mapper, see where the heck 8 Carver is, but I think it's near the corner.
I would expect it is too.
Yeah, which means it's near the Red Fire Farm too.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Let's see where we are. Okay, going down Taylor Street, which is actually Brook Street in Ludlow, heading north. At the intersection, you take a right. It's the 4th house on the right heading east, and it's directly across the street from Red Fire Farm.
Okay.
And there's a house right next door, real close, number
Okay.
6.
So we definitely need to know what the heck is going on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Colleen, we all agree we are not going to approve this.
okay,
The next one that we have is a disposal works construction permit. I'm guessing this is already done at
That's correct.
57 North Street for a
That's
D
correct.
box.
It's in place.
And it's just the D box. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are we, Lee, are we all set with this one?
Yeah, Neil Jackson, helper, they hand dug it out, put it in place, did a good job. No fern coats. He just direct pipe glued it up the right way. He did a good job, especially by hand in that heat, but he did a good job.
Wow. He actually did this himself with a helper?
Neil didn't lift a finger. The helper did everything.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying then. Okay, so his company did a good job. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
I'm okay with this. Are you, Bill?
Yeah, of course. And that's
Okay.
why Neil had come in last time for an installer's permit. So this is
Right.
fine. Perfect.
The next one that I have is the same thing for 94 Bachelor Street. Another D box.
Yes, and that is in place as well.
And it's okay, it's all done? And it's
all
good?
done. Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Who
okay.
put, yeah,
Go
who
ahead.
put that one in, guys? Who installed that? Oh, LaFleur from Belchertown.
That's correct.
I see. Okay, very good. No problem.
Me either. I'm okay with it. Lee's okay. Colleen, we're all set.
Okay.
The next one is a certificate of compliance for John Wayne at 122 Amherst Street. And this is this is done, but do we have a permit for this?
Was, yeah.
Neil Jackson was doing the Title 5 of this. Greg Everson was installing.
So,
Yeah, those were, yeah. Those
so
were
this is
approved.
the certificate of compliance, but there is no permit.
Yeah, so what was it? Was it a D box only?
This is a tank, right? And distribution box.
Yes. And both tank and D box.
There's a permit. It's in the office on
Okay.
both of these.
Okay. And a fee has been paid on both of these?
Yes. Yep.
So we can, are you okay? Lee, this is okay?
Yeah, everything was put in according to the proper separations. The heights, according to Neil, were, when he shot them, were all good. Not be an issue here.
I'm okay with this. I do want to come back and talk to this about this one, but it's going to show up later on. But if this is okay, I'm okay with this. Bill, are you?
Yeah, it's fine. Yep.
The next one is a septic tank only. And this is at 12 Hubbard Drive. This is one of the ones I want to question, but it shows up in the Title Fives where I want to kick it around. Is this okay, Lee?
Yeah, the distribution box was in decent shape, so that was left in place. I just simply, the outlet baffle on the tank was shot, not repairable. So we suggested that replace the entire tank. The house is going to be, or is sold, or is going to be sold pretty quickly. So it appears to be installed correctly. And again, the separations were all in place properly.
Are you okay? I'm okay with this, Bill. How are you?
No, I'm good. Was there a design to go with this too?
No, because
Doubt
it's only a component replacement. So you end up, the code says that these things don't even need an engineer's stamp. They just
Oh,
need,
okay,
if it's a single component, they
okay.
can be done by the installer can take it out.
Oh.
However, an engineer or sanitarian has to send in to us saying they reviewed it.
I
But
got you.
that's all that the code says, that they need to review it.
Okay, all right. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
I'm
That's fine.
okay with that too. We've got the last one, and I don't have any paperwork for it. And that is for sign off to get building permit 591, I think mine says, lot 9-1, Amherst Road, septic design approved 3/15/22. Now, I think, Colleen, is there some kind of paperwork with this?
No, he called me on the phone and asked about getting the sign off. And I looked up the septic design and that was approved. And then he's going to be hooking into South Hadley Water through there. So, but he just needed the sign off to get the building permit.
Yeah, this is, if you're going up Amherst Road before Granby Heights, on the flat area, actually before you get to what used to be Bourbonnais houses on the right before actually the old sand pit, this was Nash's property out on Amherst Road. It's all sand and it's fine.
Okay.
I think we can sign out for this without any problem. There's a
Okay.
system design and everything on this.
Okay.
Bill, are you okay to sign off?
Yeah, I'm good on that. Thank you.
Colleen, I am too, so that's
Okay.
done.
Okay,
Now-
I'll sign his paperwork.
I'll go, let's see, it's 25 after. Tyler is here. Bobby didn't come, I don't think.
Bob,
No, Bob is here.
Okay,
Bob
Bob,
is-
sorry to have you, actually, you're not waiting, it's 25 after. But
Right, your timing's perfect.
yeah, we did approve yours.
Okay,
Let's see if, let me grab my paperwork. Unfortunately, I flipped everything together here. So hang on and I'll tell you, we approved it subject to Phil, Conservation Commission review, trench permit, and Phil, Conservation Trench permit, and verification that your eastern property line is right. Now, we didn't
Okay.
say you needed a surveyor to survey the whole property. What we said is some verification that line is correct.
okay. In other words, I could say, I can verify that it is correct?
I think so. That somebody has to go in and say, yes, it was checked and it is correct. And it,
Yeah, it is indeed correct. In conversations with the property owner and the neighbor at 69, and finding pins and everything, it is indeed correct.
okay, then you just have to put something in writing to us to say it is correct.
Okay, we can do that. I would like to briefly address the conservation issue. The property owner is very anxious to get going on this. They've been conserving water, laundromat, that kind of stuff. Because we're pushed into a spot where we basically exceed the state code, do we really have to go through conservation?
Yeah, Bobby, I can't speak for my colleagues on conservation, but I trust
Mhm.
Bill want to at least see what you're going to be doing. Again, we meet next Tuesday, so it's not like it's a month out. We meet next Tuesday. I'll lobby on your behalf that we go as you've shown. However, I can't speak for the other members.
Okay, well, will there be any paperwork that's necessary, Bill?
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Understanding that you are solely a single member, not the board.
Right. Bob, who did the wetland delineation? Was that Ward Smith?
Yes, it was Wendell Wetland.
Okay, yeah, Ward.
Services.
Yeah, I know Ward. He's excellent. Okay, all right. That's certainly a plus.
Yeah.
I'll do my best on my end, but please, if you'd attend our meeting next Tuesday, that'd be terrific.
Okay. It may be Neil Jackson attending
Okay.
on the property owner's behalf. But
That'll be fine.
so
That'll
I'll
be fine.
call Kathy tomorrow and get on your agenda.
Okay, very good. Okay, Bob, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Are you folks done with me?
We are.
Okay, have a good evening.
You too.
You too. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Tyler, I see your name tag here, and I see that you just unmuted. How are you
Yeah.
this evening?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good.
Good,
And,
good.
and we really thank you for spending some of your valuable time with us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is something we all want to take care of. So
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
I'll give a couple. We don't want to keep you all night. We actually want to we're actually seeking your help.
Yeah.
I've talked to our lawyer, and we would love to do this whole thing without anybody being in court. But our issue is that I personally, not the board hasn't voted on this. We haven't done any real issues with this saying we're going to really go after someone and blame someone. But at this point, either I'm guessing your customer, which we don't know who your customer is, but we'll call it the owner. The owner appears to be willing, at least reluctantly appears to be willing to spend money to fix this problem. And the problem that we're dealing with is that those two basins in the front, the forebay and the leaching basin,
Yeah.
don't really drain out. The forebay doesn't drain out. That is,
Correct.
since you've been there, I don't think it's ever drained out.
No,
And I know, you've talked to me on site, and I know you're trying to get the thing fixed. The board, as two of us, are engineers. So when we look at it, we're looking at it with at least some kind of trained eyes.
Yeah.
And when we look in there, I think that, and the board thinks that this is a design problem, and that virtually nothing you're going to do is going to fix this. That as hard as you want to make it work, we're concerned that you can't make it work. And there are a couple things that aren't right that we know. One is that there's a soil drain, a 4-inch soil drain that goes into the forebay, which when I read the code, it says you can't do that to this stormwater control basin.
Yep.
And that was done after the design was accepted by the planning board and the peer review was completed. At the other end of it, because it flooded the guy next door to the west, they ended up putting in an overflow that goes into the storm drain in the street off the property.
that's
And
the infiltration basin
yeah,
to the right of the entrance.
yeah. So we've
Okay.
got that.
Yeah.
The other is that, as far as I can tell, the original designers, the original engineers, and then Ty and Bond have never, at least what I've seen, have never done the soil logs under the infiltration basin, maybe under either of them, but for sure, when we were originally doing the perks for the septic system, that front right corner, so we'll go the northwest corner of that property, had so much water in the ground that we couldn't even think about doing perk tests there. Yet all of a sudden they scoop out whatever 4 feet or 6 feet and say, all set. We got plenty of sand for this water to go to. And my guess is it's 2 or 4 feet underwater. But anyways, and I know when we talked, you and I talked, you struggled with this thing. You kind of nicely cursed the riprap that they threw in the forebay.
Yeah.
It says, the code says I'm supposed to scrape out the silt, and instead they put this riprap and stops me from doing this. And you pointed out that the overflow from the forebay into the infiltration basin was higher than the level. Obviously, it's higher than the bottom of the forebay, so there's no way, if it can't drain into the ground, the only way it can dry out is to evaporate.
Nick, I had a question for Tyler, if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler, hi, Bill Shaheen here. A question. So you're the maintenance company working for the owner or the tenant?
The tenant who absorbs responsibility of the property after 1 year of the store in operation. So the way their agreement reads, they absorb all responsibility for the grounds, including stormwater, after 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, so originally there was an original developer. There's a developing company. I don't think it was Lascotti. It wasn't Lascotti, was it?
I'm not sure who that was. We usually don't have that information. I could probably get it, but
okay, no, that's not germane, because Lascotti's done a lot of Dollar Generals in the area. So there's a developer, there's a contractor, then the tenant kind of took over. And is there a management company working for the tenant, or is that your company?
that would be my company for the stormwater related items. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you said after 1 year, what is the situation after 1 year, if you could, please?
The tenant absorbs all responsibility. There is a kind of a clause of a 3 year, kind of they can go back on the developer, but after that it's solely on the tenant, which I believe might actually absorb majority of it. I doubt the original owner has much to do with it.
Okay, so the tenant could be Dollar General, but it also could be a shell company or a subsidiary of Dollar General.
It could be, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See,
However, we shouldn't, from a Board of Health standpoint, that's kind of not our concern right now. We're looking at the.
No, I just wanted to look at the general chain of command, Dick, as to how we're going to get this accomplished. Okay.
So what I'm really interested in, Tyler, is finding a way that we cannot be beating you up and be beating up, I'll call it Dollar General, on something that you guys want not to have this problem. You don't want us on your case, and we don't want to be doing it. So is there a way that we can work together? Is there something that we can do to help you get this thing solved? My guess is ultimately we've got a design problem, and beating you up is never going to fix it.
No. And I will say Dollar General, who is my client, and Apex are fully on board to get this back to an operational capacity. Yes, it is a design flaw, or there is major design, irregularities that have gone on. We kind of stumbled on this. God, it might be in 2020, but last year we got to the point where it was time to pull out the riprap, do a test pit dig to see what type of infiltration we have underneath that forebay. And what we found was 80 inches of sand and then clay formation. So you're right, it's probably 80 inches of solid water, because we have never documented the forebay dry. But while we were doing that test dig, we ended up pulling out about 8 inches of sediment underneath the blast rock. And we have seen slight improvement in the infiltration side. But yes, the outfall into the adjacent basin is roughly 2 feet higher than the basin grade, the floor. So it's designed, the way it was designed is to hold water, but in your guys' case, it's only supposed to hold water for 72 hours. And
That's correct. That's
yeah,
right.
the infiltration side is the problem. So we've snowballed, we've kind of brainstormed some ideas to get this fixed. Each one of them really comes into a redesign on the plans and what you guys are willing to accept.
Yeah, Dick, from a code point of view, DEP code for stormwater, they're supposed to have 2 feet of separation off the groundwater table with all these basins. And the only way I guess you could document that now would be to put a couple of monitoring wells in, shallow monitoring wells, and just see where the water table is.
Yeah, but again, we have to be really careful. You and I cannot put our engineering hats on.
That's right.
That's not our role here.
But I think that's for Tyler to convey to his engineer, at least give him some idea of how this might get solved.
Yeah. So Tyler, are you looking? We've got at least 2 engineering companies that are involved here.
Yeah.
And Ty and Bond, when I tried to talk to Ty and Bond, when they were doing their secondary assessment, not the peer review. In fact, I don't know who did the peer review, but when they did the secondary look, I couldn't even get the engineer that was involved with Ty and Bond to even talk about what kind of water table there was underneath the infiltration basin. And I couldn't even get her to acknowledge that there was a 4-inch soil drain that, again, my winging it, I think I talked to you about it when we were out there one of the times, and my winging it said that during the wet time of the year, there's 10,000 gallons a day that's coming out of that 4-inch pipe. And that infiltration basin doesn't have a chance at getting rid of all that.
Yeah.
So
I would agree.
But she didn't even want to talk about it. And all
Yeah,
of a sudden there was a report out saying, oh, fill up this and that, and we're all set.
Yeah, I couldn't get much feedback from them. A lot of the communication I had with them was mediated by Dollar General. So a lot of my questions either went unanswered or the answers were redirected in another capacity. But yeah, we're on board. We have some solutions. It's really just the permitting process. What it's going to take to get it done. The number one kind of solution we have is raising the inflow up 2 feet to match the outflow, and then building a check dam of some sort in the forebay, remove the blast rock. The check dam would be designed to contain the sediment, but then still allow the rest of the basin to infiltrate as much as possible. And then the outflow is that kind of backup system that would achieve the 72 hours, but we wouldn't be getting the infiltration that may be expected during the initial design, which we're not getting now. That's kind of the top of our list. We think it's feasible and easy enough to do. Really the question is, we're going to be raising the basin floor up 2 feet. So then we get into capacity issues, which we're going to be making that pond, that forebay, a little bit bigger. Then we talked about lift stations, which we believe might be a little bit more difficult. And then there is some storm tech infiltration devices that we could do that kind of, you bury them underneath the forebay floor that would hold water. Our thought, though, that's an option. It's at the bottom of the list because we don't believe it's going to solve the problem. It might mask it. but
Yeah, yeah. Again, if you're putting structures below the water table, it's not going to do anything, Tyler.
yeah.
Have you thought about decommissioning that curtain drain that drains into the forebay?
No, we haven't, only because it's supporting the parking lot. So all stormwater that's draining, especially next to the entrance there, that's what's really dumping into that forebay.
So you haven't thought about sending the water to the south?
I'm just trying to get my bearings straight. That would be to the right-hand basin,
No,
adjacent to the,
instead of sending the water toward the road, send it away from the road.
I think with it being uphill, that whole property's going uphill.
Oh,
away
no, no,
from the
no.
road.
I mean, you could actually, it's hard to describe, but redirect the water from the curtain drain to a point not toward the front of the building, toward the rear of the building.
You had to watch it though, Bill,
Gotcha.
because you'll flood
Oh,
the
I know.
neighbor when you do that, so-
I'm just throwing ideas out for
Yeah, so-
discussion.
Yeah, and just so I'm clear, Bill, what are you referencing with a curtain drain? I've never heard that term before.
Well, my thought is Dick, is the drain draining into the forebay, in your opinion, a curtain drain? It's a sub drain.
Yeah, it's a soil drain, Tyler. And the
And that, okay,
our term for a curtain drain is basically saying you have a wall of pervious material going across the bottom of a glacial till knob, and the water coming down any place above the till or through the till hits this vertical section of pervious material, and the water drops to the bottom of it, and then it goes off site. So it would be
gotcha,
almost like constructing a foundation drain.
gotcha, okay,
Yeah, redirection, curtain drain, sub drain. If you
Yep.
play golf, there's sub drains on golf courses, very, very similar.
gotcha, okay.
So, yeah, I've even, as I've gone through it and say, well, if we're allowed to take that clean water and ultimately it goes off-site into the drain in the street, maybe you move the darn thing from the forebay and run the pipe into the 4-inch pipe that goes out to the street, so it never hits either basin. But anyways, that
And
has to be.
That's technically what we're trying to achieve with the number one option of, adjusting that forebay so it's actually going to infiltrate and capture sediment like it's supposed to. But then you're basically letting water leach over into the other basin to make its way out to the storm sewer.
Are you to get away from coming up with a plan right now? What I'm finding that is very constructive is it sounds like you are taking some ownership here to say you're gonna at least give it some kind of shot at solving this problem, and that you're working on it actively. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Where Dollar General's our client. This is what we do nationwide. We have roughly 12,000 stores that we manage. So this is, I wish all the problems, I wish every store didn't have problems, but some do. But we do whatever it takes to manage them and make it right. And it's kind of ours until we're told to stop.
Okay. And it also seems like if the path heads back to the original 2 engineers, it sounds like you're gonna be getting it there if that's where it needs to be going. Someone, Dollar General or somebody's gonna say, I'm sick of paying for this. Let's
Yeah.
find the guy who did the wrong thing and make him pay.
Yeah. Dollar General handle that side of it. They have us manage the ongoing issues and solve the problems. We see a few of these nationwide where the original design might be not what was actually put down on the ground, and we come in and kind of clean it up and make it operational for long term. But I think maybe here soon, if you guys are free, I'll take a drive out there. And Richard, you probably met maybe Bobby Campbell or one of my other peers out there.
Maybe.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I'll come out and
So
we,
obviously I didn't see you.
yeah. But I can come out and we can walk the site just to make sure we're clear on what you guys are looking to achieve on all aspects. It sounds like there's more than just maybe the 4-bay problem that I originally thought. But we can go through and talk about everything, and then we'll put a plan together. My only concern is, I know it's crazy, it's August 2nd, but the timeline on this, because winter's coming. I would love for us to take the time, do it right, and go into spring of next year with a plan to fix it. Is that something you guys would entertain?
I don't know how Bill and Lee feels about it, but my own personal feeling, not speaking for the board, my personal feeling is this thing has been going on for years now. That if we're moving forward to get a real solution, then we're better off, instead of coming into the winter in the mud, that you're better off to say, with a plan that's moving forward with milestones and saying we're not just saying, whew, we just add 6 months to our timeline, they're off our case. Then I would support that with a managed project with measurable timelines. I don't know how Bill and Lee feel.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm also on the Conservation Commission in town. There's a good chance you'll have to come to the commission for a permit through our other board. So I think if you can devote the summer and the fall and at least part of the winter toward permitting and design, you'll have this thing shovel ready, hopefully by April, and we can start getting this thing on the ground when the snow subsides.
Yeah, that was my thought. Oh, the permitting side was what I knew would take some time. And
It might take a while. It might take
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
Lee, what is your thought?
No, I agree with your comments and Bill's comments. As long as we have some active progress being made on paper, not necessarily on site, but on paper, and we have measurable goals that are met on time and progress. Again, as you pointed out, one more winter is not a make or break on this project. What we're after is long term. So if that means April of 23, that's, I think, a realistic goal. Going on the honor system, that we're really going to get there.
And it
Yeah.
won't be, as we go, Tyler, as I said, as a project manager, I certainly need to have something in front of me that says, here's what we're doing, here are the milestones, here's our progress towards the milestones, that we're really, really doing something and well beyond, 4 good guys who trust each other, shaking hands and saying, don't worry, it'll get fixed.
Yeah. No, that won't be a problem. Outlining and setting some goals for us isn't going to be an issue. The only thing I would probably need to kind of speed this off and really kick us off is if you and Bill and Lee are able to put down maybe a list of items that you would like to see, whether it's Bill, and I didn't catch the other board you're on, but maybe some of those kind of milestones that we need to hit as far as permitting. Anything else we can get done. We took some soil samples and while we were doing our test dig, because we knew this is the direction it had to go eventually. It was just finding the right people to talk to.
Bill, how do you want to do it? Do you want to take a cut for the next meeting, just to take an idea what kind of milestones we'd want with this? You wanna,
Yeah. Let me come up with a game plan as far as the way I see the permitting sequence going. And I'll put some milestones together with some timelines. Tyler, now the question is, who are you going to retain to actually do the design, the remedial design? You're going to go back to the original designer of record or another firm?
We're gonna take a look at it. We have in-house engineers that specializes in this. They're extremely busy. If they can handle the work, we're probably gonna handle it internally. Otherwise, yes,
Okay.
we'll go external.
Okay, why don't I do this then, Dick? In the next 2 weeks, let me put a little timeline together, and then we'll run it. We'll review it at the next meeting, and we'll all agree, and we'll tweak it as necessary, and we'll agree that that's the way we're going to go, and then we'll sign, seal, and deliver that. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. The good thing is, I don't think planning board is really gonna get, and it won't be a roadblock. I think planning board is happy to get this thing solved. We know the building inspector is I hate to say on our side, but in a position that he wants the problem solved. The highway department is very positive at getting this fixed. You have Bill on the Conservation Commission and the Board of Health. So I think we have the pieces together here to make sure we grease the skids to get this thing solved.
Yeah. No, I think everybody is on board to get it fixed. It's kind of legacy that we're dealing with. And we'll get it cleaned up and get it operating like it should. Yeah, if Bill, a couple weeks, I'll be looking for an email, and we'll get working on it, and then I'll reach out to you guys, try to find a time when you guys are free. We can meet out there.
Okay. Tyler, where's your office? Where do you operate out of? I'm curious.
I operate out of my resident in Horseheads, New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Out of Elmira, but the Apex corporate office is out of Rockville, Maryland.
Okay, so you're about a 3-hour drive from here, or 3-4 hour drive?
Yeah, probably like 5. Yeah.
Oh, that long? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's that far. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no worries though. This is that important.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for attending tonight. I appreciate Dick and Lee and everybody's attention to this, and hopefully we'll get this done in a jiffy. But let's put a game plan together, a timeline, and let's see how that progresses.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent. Appreciate the
Tyler,
time, guys.
Thank you very much. And certainly we all just saw the benefit of having virtual meetings instead of you're
That's right.
driving 10 hours to spend this 20 minutes with us.
I was pretty excited when Colleen sent me the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's it, Dick. That's another good benefit of Zoom meetings. Imagine if this poor fella had to drive a day and a half to get out here.
Well, on top of that, trying to have him scheduled, 2 days worth of time to see little Granby. Now we get an appointment a week after Colleen asked them to talk to us. So not only does it help them, it really helps us.
Yes. No, again, that's another plus. And as Colleen had noted, again, and we talked about this, Dick, we've got to start lobbying to get this March 2023 date pushed back, because it'll be March in no time.
It is. It's going to be. It's August right now. We're going to be at the end of the year, and then we're going to be scrambling. Everybody's going to say, this is a pain in the neck. This is the legislature's not going to be happy to have this thing keep coming up. What they really ought to do is fix it and fix the law.
That's right. Make it permanent. That'll be the end of it.
Right.
period.
So
Okay,
let's see if we can just get through. We've got the Title Fives. I'm going to stay away from three of them until the group 5 Country View Lane, Greg Everson passes. 104 South Street, Neil Jackson passes. 185 West Street, West State Street, Neil Jackson passes. 165 Kendall Street, Neil Jackson passes. Lee, are we okay with those?
Yeah, the one I'm cloudy on is 185 West State Street. I don't remember going. Oh, no, that's the little house by, not the house, that little shop by,
Brooks
the
Real
old
Estate,
Brooks Realty.
right?
Yeah, I was there. Yep, all good.
Okay. Bill, are you all set with that whole group to receive them?
yeah, yes, no problem. Everything's good.
And Lee, you just said it, and I am too. So that group
Yep.
is received. I've got the three I have a question with is Lot 6 Cold Hill, 12 Hubbard Drive, and 122 Amherst Street. Now, 122 Amherst Street and 12 Hubbard Drive are the same issue in my mind. They were both pre-Title V, as far as I can tell, put in the ground for water table. And both of those, water table was done and determined without looking in the ground. Hubbard Drive was a Fred Filios design, and I know how Fred handled till on a hillside, and he just didn't see we didn't call it models then, unless he saw a giant ring of oxide, he'd have no part of calling water table. And then the backup document said that Alan Weiss was in there, and Alan said, I'm not digging either because I've worked around here, and 48 inches is what I'm calling the water table. And then it's kind of the same thing on 122 Amherst Street with Neil Jackson not digging holes either. And my concern is, should we have a policy that says if this has not been a Title V soil evaluation before we've got in there, should we be making somebody, in fact, maybe a soil evaluator, look at where the water table is? I guess the action is it's at both Bill and you, Lee, but Lee, for sure, since you're the boots on the ground.
Yep.
I don't know
I mean,
what.
I think we did this for a short period, Dick, in the 90s. Mid-90s, I think we did this for a while. I don't know if it continued on, but I think we did this for a while in the mid-90s. But I don't know if it was cast in stone or set as a guidance document. So what you're asking is we set this up as a policy or a guidance document formally.
Yeah, that says water table it doesn't have to be determined on that particular inspection, but it has to have been done by a Title V soil evaluation.
Right.
I mean, you think about that, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That, especially on an older piece of property,
right.
As Dick pointed out, there wasn't any done. And if we're just simply replacing a component, we could be doing a disservice to the new owner.
for sure.
Well, yeah, that's the question is the system flooding out periodically and nobody actually knows it? That's the question.
Correct.
So we're
Yeah,
saying that's
but-
what
but-
we are gonna do. We'll just say, certainly, I don't mind at all. If you go out and you say, gee, we've got a 10-year-old system or a 20-year-old system, it's built on fill. There was a soil log with it that says, you know, the bottom of the system is now 4 feet above the water table. Here's what it was. Digging a new hole there and disrupting everything doesn't accomplish very much. But looking at Alan Weiss, say, hey, I've been here on another part of this hill and I can tell you that the bottom of the septic system of the SAS is at least 2 inches above the water table. And I can tell that from a hole I dug 500 feet away.
Exactly 2 inches.
Now it wasn't just Alan, but we can, you know, that we as a board allowed that. But once again, with the way that hopefully when we get through our rules that we're gonna change, we won't be in a spot that where Title V says, hey, Board of Health, you can't do anything about this. All you can do is stick it in your file, because the Title V regulation says that inspector just has to mail it in. It doesn't matter what the Board of Health thinks.
You know, Dick, if you look in Title V, I think it's 310 or 315. It had a series of criterion that were permissible for water table determination pursuant to Title V inspections. You know, one was, is there a sump pump in the basement of the house? That was right. They had, I think, 6 or 7 incidental methods. They weren't terribly persuasive, but they were incidental. So I think we just want to enhance that criterion.
Yeah.
And I think one of their methods in that document, I think they did reference historical water table data in the area. And I think that's what Alan's probably hanging his hat on.
That's what I would think too. And and if you're out next to Granby High School and you're saying, well, I got a whole bunch of data on Green Meadow Lane, it's probably pretty sound stuff. But
That's because it's pervious sand. It's pervious sand, of course.
Without much of a water table gradient, but
right. That's right.
But anyway, so it sounds like we're going to do that. The other one, I don't know what we're going to do. Is that's lot 6 Cold Hill, and I talked to Neil Jackson about that today. He was surprised. He said he didn't know that Laurie McCool was in there looking at that and had seen the tank filled with water, and that the board said it was not suitable. The system was not suitable to be used on a new construction. New construction, and it's interesting that. And then he just did a Title V and says, hey, find out what's wrong with the tank and away you go. And what I can't remember, Bill and Lee, I can't remember. I think I remember that Laurie said that the D box was full at the time. And
That's correct.
Neil told me, no way, that there was only up to the invert and the D box. And I recalled that it was the fact that the D box was full was in fact one of the confounding problems, to say, if you've got some rain that's going into the tank, the leach field should be more than capable of handling whatever leaks out of it. But if you've got a full D box, then it said not only did the tank get filled, but the leach field got filled. That's what I recall. But in terms of Neil doing a Title V, I guess it's a Title V that he can mail in a Title V. And it's up to us when somebody comes along and says, I want to build a house and connect up to it, then it doesn't matter what Neil says. It's the Board of Health that decides whether you can use it.
Well, that day is fast approaching. There's a family, either in agreement or already has purchased. The tank itself is, from what I can determine by working with Neil, is clearly leaking. It is not watertight at all. And I remember being on site with Lori McCool quite a while ago, before the lot came up for sale again, and the distribution tank was full of water, but I have to check my notes. I thought it was to the invert of the pipe. Lori may have something different in her recollection. But again, there was a lot. I've similar concerns. It's been in the ground for the last, I don't know how long, 12, 15 years.
Yeah, maybe 18 years. It's a long time.
Maybe 18 years. We have no idea how many, is it a foot of stone? Is it 6 inches of stone? I don't know. Soil logs, who put it in?
Yeah.
No one's going to stand behind this thing.
Yeah. Excuse me, I've got the minutes here. This is 12/21/21 minutes, Dick, lot 6. It says Lori McCool investigated the condition of the tank, so on and so forth. At the time of Miss McCool's inspection, the septic tank and D-box were observed filled with water.
Okay, so that's
December,
exactly what I recall.
yeah, December 21st, 2021 minutes, item 7.
So
Okay, so if that's recollection, then it's, even though it's brand new, it's already in failure.
Yep,
That's
and it says the board concluded that a water-filled unused septic tank and D-box is an abnormal condition and indicates it is not suitable for use for a new dwelling, period.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
So when Neil comes along and says, hey, this thing, there's no indication that the D-box had water in it. And I guess maybe you can't see it if it's clear water. Maybe it doesn't leave a ring. But the point is, we've got data that says it was flooded. And so Neil can do his thing, and you go and Lee and look in the ground and said, I'm telling you what Neil says is what was. But when it finally comes back to the Board of Health and say, will we let someone move forward with it? We just say no. And it certainly, it doesn't make me feel bad if the new homeowner says, gee, this isn't fair. What Bill just read is what the Board of Health told the real estate agent. And it's in our meeting minutes. Now, if the real estate agent didn't tell the truth, that's a legal issue for the owner to deal with the real estate agent. But from a Board of Health standpoint, I guess we just sit back and say, we wait until someone asks to do something, and then we tell them no.
Dick, is there a well on the property?
Yep.
Okay, so that means they're gonna go to Greg Briggs, try to get a building permit, and then the sign-off sheet's gonna circulate, and then this will come up at that point.
That's right.
Okay.
So is it, well, maybe it doesn't matter whether it's the same realtor or not. But it would make economic sense to have since Lori McCool was already there and already did something, it would make perfect economic sense to use Lori again to weigh in on the sale of this property since she was already familiar with it and they picked up somebody new, which is their right to do. And not that it matters, but the wife of the family buying it, her father is a practicing attorney in Springfield, which probably has no bearing on this, but
Well,
Lori's dad
he,
should be,
he certainly should be able to read the minutes from the 21st of December then.
agreed. Yeah, I just don't know how the sale of this is going in the direction it's going without somebody red flagging the potential buyers that this lot, which has a well and a septic system, does not mean that you're going to save yourself $20,000 or $30,000 on this.
Well,
The well may be good, but the SAS is questionable at best.
well, if we want to do something, we certainly could send a copy of those minutes to Neil and the real estate agent. And said this came up today that I don't see on these three Title V's that I'm concerned with. I don't see that we have any reason under the code, the current code, that we don't receive them, because the code says within 30 days of the test, the inspector is supposed to send it to the Board of Health. And if they've complied with the 30 days, and that complies with Title V. It doesn't say that the Board of Health has to like it.
Right, that's a totally different topic altogether. You're correct.
So I'm guessing the attorney may be hanging his hat on Neil Jackson's inspection. So you have two disputed versions of the situation. You got a dispute. Neil and
But there
Laura.
is no dispute from the Board of Health standpoint to say, we've said we're not going to do it,
That's right.
and we're not. And you guys, they can bring us to court if they want, but I'm going to guess what they're going to do is bring Neil Jackson to court.
Is the realtor on this Mr. Beck?
I don't know.
Because Mr. Beck is Mr. Beck's sister is the mom of the girl buying the property. Her husband's the attorney living on Taylor Street, practicing in Springfield. Just
But
to
I don't
muddy the
see
waters
that
a little bit.
I don't see that that's our responsibility, other than if you.
No, I agree. By sharing the data from the December meeting, I think we're being as upfront and fair as we can be to the prospective buyer.
Well, yeah, it's public information. And if they did a Freedom of Information Act request, we'd have to release that anyway. That's public info. Those minutes.
Agreed.
And I think you'd find that an attorney would say that Neil Jackson, and using due diligence, would have asked the Board of Health, just like it says, do you have any water table data? Did anybody inspect it? He would say, gee, was there anything funny about this since this thing has been in the ground for 18 years, not used, is there anything funny that you know? But maybe that's what you do, is just send a note to Gail DeMary, if you know who the attorney is, and to Neil Jackson, and say we received the Title V on this septic system, and we wanted to be aware that this is a copy of our notes regarding that from our minutes from the December whatever it is meeting. And just all of that is absolutely the truth. I'm
That's
not
as fair as the board.
I'm not
That's as fair as they can
sure.
get.
I'm not sure how you do a Title V inspection on a system that's never worked, that has no connection to a facility, since one of the things you're supposed to do is to see if your pipes are all broken and connected, and there are no pipes, and say, how do you do a meaningful Title V?
I think that in the Title V form now, I think the first question is, has the system been receiving regular flow? And the answer to that is no.
Right, that starts.
So that's a trigger right off the bat.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think there's
Very
certain
good.
catchwords in the way those reports are written, the templates are written, to kind of raise the flag automatically through the inspection report. And the first one is, has it been receiving regular flow? And the answer is no.
Yeah. But in
Okay.
this case, from our standpoint, on these three systems, I don't see that the Board of Health, according to Title V, can do anything but receive these systems, the reports. They were mailed to us. How can we not? And in fact, we probably have received them.
Yeah, we accept the report. We accept the report, and that's it, period.
We haven't accepted it. We've received it. We haven't said we
Well,
accept it.
we haven't approved or concurred with its findings, but
Right.
okay, I see what you're saying.
It's in our
It's
file
come in.
now.
Office, it's date stamped, and it's filed away. in Colleen's
We've
office.
received and accepted it as a document in the file,
Right,
but we haven't opined on it.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
But we absolutely could just have Colleen send a note out to those three people and said, we've received this Title V, and we thought you'd be interested that investigate this system, a discussion on this system has occurred at the end of 2021, and here's a copy regarding the board's opinion on it. And that's what it is.
Yep.
And then we certainly know that Gail DeMary knew it, because she talked to us on this. I'm sure we could find the tapes. Is that
She
what
knew
we?
full well during our visit with the first exam that it was problematic.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. In recollection, that there was some issues there. Again, maybe is why that first person wasn't invited back, but that's not my problem. That's not the board's problem. Not just that, you know what I mean.
Right.
So now, on this same topic, pretend that the phone rings tomorrow and somebody wants a Title V on Center Street done for a house that's been there and the system is 40 years old. Are we, as of tomorrow or as of when, going to be pushing for the proper documentation of soil evaluations. That's starting tomorrow morning.
I think we should, what do you, Bill? I think we just say that water table evaluations for Title V inspections need to be accompanied by a Title V soil evaluation.
It makes sense. It's for the protection of everybody. It's for the protection of everybody. Absolutely.
And so it doesn't say a brand new one. It just says that
What one exists for the property or an adjacent property
Right.
within reason.
And when you say within reason, you mean adjacent only, not a quarter mile away.
Well, again, that's the point about the pervious sands. If you have pervious sands with a flat water table, like you say in Green Meadow Lane, and the water table's at 72 inches, and this new property is 500 feet away, and you look at the topography, and it looks like the 72-inch call is reasonable. Again, that's a judgment call, Dick. That's the problem.
well, that's why I think you shouldn't do it. I think you
Yeah.
just say, this is what it's gotta be, that if you're asking for a water table for that site, it needs to be associated with a Title V evaluation for that site.
For that site. Okay. I got
And
it.
it's clear.
All right.
And
Okay.
Lee doesn't have to say, well, this time I did it, this time I didn't.
That's right. That
Just
takes the
say-
discretion. Yeah, it takes the discretion out of it. Okay.
But now that
Right.
we've done
There-
so many Title Vs, they're only, I'll bet there's less than 10% of the systems that don't have a Title V hole associated with them.
That's probably a pretty good estimate, Dick.
So, okay, so we'll do that, but we have to accept, so are we gonna have Colleen send what we just said out to those three people?
Yeah. Yes, I would recommend so.
Lee, what do you
I
think?
would agree that absolutely.
Colleen, I agree too, so we're
Okay,
gonna send
Neil
it out to Neil Jackson, to the Gail DeMary, and to whatever, if this is Beck, and just say that we received the Title V for this property, and we want you to be aware that this septic system on this property was discussed on whatever, December something, and here are a copy of the minutes concerning that discussion.
Okay,
Keeps everybody in the light of day.
Yeah,
this is a lawyer, Mr. Beck, or who is that?
Mr. Beck is Mr. Beck's a realtor.
That's
Oh.
Michael Beck. Is that his name? Mike Beck?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, what is going, okay, really, okay, got you.
He lives
Okay.
I think he lives over on Kellogg Street, maybe.
hmm
I'm not sure who he works for, but I think he resides on Kellogg.
Okay. Well, fine.
Yeah, he was part of the Kellogg Hall restoration group, I think.
Could well have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it at least gets this thing so that if someone has been less than fully open with disclosures, this is gonna start to bring that issue to the head. My next item, I don't know if you guys know it, Alex LaMarche from GCAM is leaving. He's going to Hadley.
Yeah, good. Alex was terrific, Dick. He was, and this is an upgrade for him. He's got a bright career ahead of him. I think Alex is terrific.
I do
Good
too.
guy. Good
And,
guy.
He's been great to work with,
Yep.
but when you look at getting raises at 3% or 4%, you just have to move along.
That's right.
My next two things, one is Granby Motel and the bed bugs. Colleen, were you able to get in touch with Lynn and that?
I sent Lynn an email. I didn't hear back from that,
Okay,
but
I expect this to be a big problem. I find it hard to believe, at least from my experience, that we're gonna find one bed in one room is where those little critters are sleeping. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with being clean or not. It's,
I know.
you can be in pretty fancy hotels and get them.
They go through New York City real quick, believe me. Yes.
So the next one, I don't know if you guys saw it. The building inspector gave me a call about 213 Amherst Street. Now that
I
is
read that.
also, I think is listed as Notch Place also. And that's the old Steve Wolf property, who was the building inspector in Granby. And it's a flat roofed house. The building inspector told me that there's a bunch of work that's been going on in there without permits. But he went inside and they've had a terrible drainage problem, that the roof has been open and water has come in. They tore some wallboard off and looked in, and they've put the vapor barrier on the wrong side of the insulation so that the plywood is all rotted and molded in the whole house. They've pulled plywood or wallboard off and found ways to reuse it, and the insulation is green, and the building inspector told me and the electrical work is the wiring is no good, and the building inspector believes that the whole building is going to have to be torn down, and it's on the market as a fixer-upper. And he's been even getting calls from somebody in Western New York State saying, wow, what a good deal. What can you tell me about this house? But he just wanted us to know that if we got into this thing, it's I told him we haven't done an inspection, so we can't condemn it. But if he's got it condemned for structural problems, it doesn't matter what the Board of Health said because it's already condemned. But what he also, this is for sure for you, Lee, that getting on this one, if that building has to be completely torn down, I think we've said that you have to have, when you start back up, you have to have a Title V system. So if they're in the process of trying to hide stuff, this is another one where they could easily call you up and get Neil in and say, hey, would you do me a favor and do a Title V and say stuff is all good? When I don't know what it's like over there. What I did drive by it, and it's on a slab. So I'm guessing there's some stuff that's probably not very nice underneath it.
I've talked to Greg about this as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mess.
Okay. I know the
fact-
house you mean.
In fact, he told me they're using the swimming pool as a dump. And he said some of the stuff they just leave in there and then they take it out and reuse it. So, but just be careful. For all of us should be careful. I would suggest,
I appreciate the heads up, because you just never know who's going to be rushing in with a document or a last minute phone call with a crisis, which is their crisis, not ours.
yeah. And it sounds like these guys are, Greg is giving them some cease and desist orders. They're working without permits. They're trying to hide stuff. It's a very bad situation. I am suggesting, I've got adopting regulations, the DEP Clean Watershed Survey, the power lines, mail and COVID issues and other business, I'm not sure it's 25 of 9. I'm not sure we want to go into these things.
So I move we adjourn, Dick. Push those off till next time.
Does someone, you've got an assignment, Colleen is the DEP clean water shed survey. Is that a big job to try to complete?
Well, did you see the email I sent from the fellow?
Yeah,
So I guess you have to talk to him, and he wants to know what you guys want to concentrate on, I guess.
I think most of it though is online, isn't it? It's an online questionnaire,
Yeah, it
but
is.
it's got a number
yes.
of topics.
it does. And some of them, as I recall, said, what is your future for your desires for running sewers and running water lines? And it just seems like if they were looking for how many sewer problems we have and how many water problems we have, we could do that. But the other seems like that's a planning function.
Yeah, they should look at the master plan. We did a master plan years ago. Give them a copy of that.
Eileen, I'll take a look at it Bill's got an assignment for the next meeting. I'll take a look at this and see what we can come up with. We still haven't, what's not, and you have it for adopting regulations. We were gonna try one regulation that we were gonna do. And I can't even remember what it was. Which one was it? It was gonna be was it for the water, for the well and sampling the water?
Yeah, that was it. And of course, the other one we wanted to cement was the 100-foot offset from wetlands for new septic systems. Again, I think we
Okay.
wanted to go back in all the historical regulations and just make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Well,
Dick.
we were gonna do that, but you suggested that we try the process on one that was a reasonably straightforward one.
That was the water. Yeah, that was the water sampling protocol. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll give a shot at that. Unless
Okay.
you want to do that one.
No. Very good. Thank you.
Lee, are you ready to give it up for tonight?
I
think-
think that's a reasonable request.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna shut everybody off.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Thank you. All the
Good night,
best,
folks.
everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye now. Bye.